Oh, hello there, my little wanderer. What a surprise! You found my fireplace. My name is Ophelia, the witch. Today I will read for you 2 disturbing stories of abandoned building exploration. So get comfortable in your chair and listen very well. Last summer, my family took a road trip to explore some small towns along the East Coast. My parents both managed to get time off work at the same time, which is rare, so they wanted to make the most of it. My younger brother, who I'll call Ben for privacy reasons, and I were pretty excited. We figured we'd find some interesting places along the way. We pulled into this small town that seemed almost deserted. A lot of the shops were closed, and the buildings looked run down. My parents checked us into the only motel in town to rest for the evening. But me and my brother were too restless. Earlier, we'd seen an old, abandoned factory on the edge of town, and we were itching to check it out. We told our parents we were just going for a walk around town to stretch our legs. They seemed okay with that, so we took the opportunity. We grabbed my father's flashlight and headed towards the factory. The building looked even creepier up close, with its broken windows and crumbling walls. The gate was unlocked, and it made this loud, creaky noise as we pushed it open. We stepped inside the factory grounds, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. Inside, it was vast and empty. There were holes on the wall from which light passed through. The air was thick with dust, and the only sound was the occasional drip of water from somewhere. Our voices echoed through the silence as we made some jokes and showed each other things we observed around. We had the feeling we were probably breaking some laws and also lying to our parents about our present destination. Instinctively, we kept our voices low and communicated mostly by gestures. We found a staircase that led down to the basement. Of course, we decided to check it out. The air got colder as we went down, and we started hearing noises of what was probably a cooling system. We found a bunch of small, dark rooms. One room had a metal chair with restraints, like something out of a horror movie. Ben and I looked at each other, feeling pretty uneasy, but we kept going. We wandered through, using the flashlight and my phone to explore the dark corners of the place. The light casted weird shadows that made everything look even spookier. Then we found this big iron door that was slightly open. Inside was an old storage area. Our flashlights caught something in the corner that made us freeze. A glass tank filled with murky liquid, and inside were a shape of something that looked disturbingly human. It resembled me of a baby, but there was something very odd about it. I felt my heart start beating faster. We started backing away, but then we heard a heavy door slam shut. We turned around and saw a shadowy figure blocking our way out. He said,
"You're not supposed to be here."
He looked very serious, as if he was in trouble himself. We were terrified. The guy took a step closer, and we just bolted. We ran through the basement, trying to find another way out, with his footsteps coming after us. We heard him screaming.
Hey, get back here!
But we were in fight or flight mode. Pretty much flight mode in this case. We found a narrow passageway that ended in a kind of deposit. The man's voice sounded very angry by then. Just when we thought we were trapped, we saw a small window high up on the wall. I boosted Ben up, and then he pulled me through. We got out into the fresh air, and didn't stop running until we got back to the motel. When we got back, we were out of breath and freaked out. Our parents asked us how we got so messed up, and we once more lied. We told them we had raced back to the hotel for fun. The next morning, we left that town very early, without looking back. Only when we were far away did I allow myself to breathe lightly again. This was the most tense situation involving strangers I have ever faced in my life. Ben and I don't talk about it, but I can't help wondering what we stumbled upon. It's something that still gives me chills when I think about it. Dylan and I had a thing for the old mansion on the hill. It was our spot, a place to escape the mundane, smoke a few cigarettes, and feel like rebels in a town that offered little excitement. The mansion was our secret hideout, a decaying relic of the past that had long been forgotten by everyone else. We'd been there countless times, exploring its abandoned rooms and chilling on the roof, watching the world below. That night was no different, or so we thought. We climbed to the roof to enjoy the view and share a cigarette. From our vantage point, the town below looked like a sea of twinkling lights. The night was clear, and the moon cast its glow over the mansion's front yard. As we passed the cigarette back and forth, I noticed a figure emerging from the shadows at the edge of the property. It was a woman, moving slowly but deliberately toward the mansion. I asked Dylan, "Hey, do you see that?" He forced his eyes, looking into the darkness, then nodded. The woman came closer, and we could make out her features under the moonlight. She was middle-aged, with wild hair, and a frantic look in her eyes. She called out, "Have you seen my son?" Dylan and I exchanged puzzled glances. "Ma'am, there is no one here," Dylan shouted back. She didn't seem to hear him, or didn't care. "I'm coming up to talk to you," she declared, then disappeared into the mansion. We exchanged uneasy looks. I asked if we shouldn't leave right then. "Let's wait and see what she wants," Dylan said, trying to stay calm, although he was clearly as bugged as I. I honestly don't understand how he wasn't freaking out. If he wasn't there, I would have disappeared before that woman could get to the stairs. 1 or 2 minutes later, we heard her footsteps on the creaky stairs. "Hello, boys." Her voice had a sing-song quality to it that made me feel a chill. I felt as if she was treating me like her son. She appeared in the doorway leading to the roof, and she gave us the craziest haze I have ever received in my life. Her eyes were wide and fixed on us. It seemed as if she was very happy to have found us. "Stay back, ma'am," Dylan said, holding up his hand and making a fist. "We don't know anything about your son." She smiled, ignoring our defensiveness. "You must have seen him. He's a good boy, always listens to his mother." "We haven't seen anyone," I said, louder this time, hoping she'd get the hint. She kept closing the distance, but her smile started to fade. "I just want to talk. Why are you being so rude?" "Stay where you are," Dylan repeated, both of us already backing away. Her demeanor changed in an instant. "Don't be disrespectful," she hissed, her voice low and dangerous. "Why are you running from me?" We managed to circle around her and cross the roof doorway, entering the house. We ran, scrambling down the stairs, our footsteps echoing loud through the whole house. The mansion, which once felt like our sanctuary, now felt like a maze trapping us with this deranged woman. The woman's voice followed us, eerily calm, yet insistent. "Why are you running? Come back. I just want to talk." We navigated through dark, dusty corridors, trying to remember the quickest way out. The situation left my notion of direction hindered. My heart pounded in my chest as we rounded a corner and saw the faint light of the exit. We found one big hole on the wall, where once was a window. We burst out of the mansion and into the night air, sprinting toward the trees at the edge of the property. The woman's voice grew fainter, but we could still hear her calling out, "You can't hide from me. Come back here." When we reached the safety of the main road, we finally stopped to catch our breath. We looked back and saw the woman standing in the doorway of the mansion, her figure barely visible in the dim light. We stared at her, wondering if she could see us. Then she cut our doubts by talking out loud directly to us. "Tell my son that Mama is here." Her tone was very creepy. Then she started laughing, a high, maniac sound that chilled me to the bone. She started coming down in our direction again, but we blasted off this time. We checked around right before entering Dylan's house, where I spent the night that day. I believe she didn't follow us that far. Dylan and I told about that night to basically everyone we knew. Our friends didn't believe us at first, but the way we described the woman's wild eyes and crazy laughter convinced them that we weren't making it up. Despite the terrifying experience, we really liked to hang out in that mansion back then. It took us months before we had the nerve to visit the place at night once more. By then, the fear had been replaced with a sort of nervous curiosity. When we finally did go back, we couldn't help but laugh at how scared we'd been. We explored the rooms again, reminiscing about that night and how ridiculous we must have looked running through the halls in panic. Although we could laugh about it later, it didn't change the fact that it was genuinely terrifying at the time. The memory of the way she chased us is something I dreamed of a few times after that day. The mansion remained our spot, but the thrill now came with a hint of caution, a reminder that even in quiet towns, there can always be a weirdo wandering around at night.